Hi, this is Jen Rubin, and this is Jen Rubin's Green Room. We have had quite a week already, and it's only Thursday. The Biden exit from the presidential race was a magnificent, self effacing, selfless act that has unleashed a tsunami of excitement, of appreciation for the new Democratic ticket. So kudos go to President Biden once more for stepping aside. What we've seen this week is the level of enthusiasm, relief, excitement, joy that the Democrats have a ticket that is populated by normal, nice people who believe in America, who believe in democracy, who are patriotic. What a concept, right? Well, so far, their appearances have been tremendous. We've seen Philadelphia, we've seen Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and we've seen Detroit. That scene in Eau Claire where the cars were lined up for miles reminded me of the scene in Field of Dreams, where they famously said, if you build it, they will come. Well, if you construct a ticket that is exciting, that is uplifting, that is forward looking, they will come. And so far, the voters are coming. I think the combination of them is really extraordinary. And so much of this is about chemistry. She's gotten better since he's been on the ticket because she can tout his benefits. She comes across as even more presidential because she's in charge, he's the subordinate. And she simply seems at ease, she seems in command. And I think it has allowed her to really grow into the role of being top of the ticket. It's hard to be top of the ticket when there's no bottom of the ticket, but now she has somebody. Now she has a wingman. So I think her stump speech as it's evolving is great. It's short, it's punchy, it's uplifting, it's patriotic. Yes, they dig at Trump. And yes, they make clear that he and his policies are a danger. But it is not apocalyptic. It is not meant to scare voters. It is meant to allow them to reject Trump. They are in essence saying, you can be happy too. You don't have to have this weirdo, this down in the dumps guy who's constantly railing at people, who's constantly spreading dissension. You can have us. We're the happy, normal people. And that is a great gain for Democrats who for years have been painted as oddballs or elites or out of touch. Well, who's out of touch now? It's the billionaire from Mar-a-Lago and his weird sidekick, J.D. Vance. So they have really captured, I think, the essence of a campaign, which is forward-looking, which is optimistic, which is, I think, in tune with what actual real people want. Now, because it's going so well, of course, J.D. Vance, of all people, who is the second man on a ticket where his boss is a renowned draft dodger, having gotten 5 deferrals and using a favor from a friendly doctor to get him off from service because of bone spurs. That guy, yes, J.D. Vance is questioning the service 24 years in the National Guard of Tim Walz. It's appalling. It's expected. This is exactly what they tried to do with John Kerry, who actually fought in Vietnam in battle. And they've used some bogus excuse that, well, as soon as they were out to be deployed, that's when he retired. Well, as Adam Kinzinger, a Republican and a former Air Force officer, points out, people retire all the time. And in fact, he retired after 24 years, well before his unit was notified that they would be deployed to Iraq. So it's silliness, but it's desperation. And it shows you how incensed and how crazed the Republicans have become. And today at 2 p.m., you too can watch Donald Trump at a, quote, press conference. We'll see if he actually takes questions. In the past, he's just roped people in to hear him rant and then left without taking questions. But he promises a press conference. If the press actually were doing their job, this is what they would ask him. They would ask him, why aren't you on the trail like she is? Are you sick? Do you lack energy? Do you not think you can fill the forum the way she does? What's up? How come you're hiding at Mar-a-Lago? That would be a good question. Another good question would be something along the lines of, why did you put on the ticket someone who now has insulted virtually every person in America in some fashion or another? Women, people who served in the National Guard, immigrants. Is that your kind of the best people? Is that the kind of people you're going to hire? You're embarrassed to even say that he's fit for office. How can we have any confidence that you're going to be any better in a chief executive position than you were last time? Oh, and by the way, why did 40 of 44 former cabinet members decline to endorse you? Why did the former vice president refuse to endorse you? Oh, that's right. You tried to have him killed. That's right. So the type of questions that were perhaps begun to be asked at the NABJ interview have never been asked by this press. Why don't they ask him why he insists on making anti-Semitic accusations, like calling the second gentleman a crappy Jew? Why don't they accuse him, and rightly so, of racism in disputing the vice president's racial and ethnic background? They don't do it because they are insisting on treating him as a normal candidate when every indication in the world shows he's not. He doesn't pretend to be normal. He isn't normal. He is there only because he has been able to avoid criminal trials, because Mitch McConnell and the Republicans failed to show the spine in order to impeach him and convict him in the impeachment trial in 2001. That's the reason he's there. And everything he's done since has confirmed that he's anything but normal. So if they do get to ask questions, it would be nice if the media did its job. No one's asking them to be biased. No one's asking them not to ask hard questions of the Democratic ticket, but ask some hard questions of Trump as well. Well, we'll see if they actually do that or not. I would be surprised. And remember, in a couple weeks, in fact, 2 weeks from today, Kamala Harris will be standing on the stage in Chicago, accepting the nomination as president of the Democratic Party. It's going to be spectacular, I think. It's going to be historic. This will be the first time a person of color, who is also a woman, was nominated for the top of the ticket. I think the emotion is going to be very high. President Biden is going to get a chance to say his farewells on Monday. But in 2 weeks, I think she's going to go off from that convention with another burst of enthusiasm and momentum. Just like we've seen the polls rise, the crowds grow, the volunteers, the money pour in, that I think is going to be re-upped again after the convention, if, as I suspect, it's well organized and it's positive and she comes across well. So what does that mean? It means coming out of the end of August, she is riding on a high wave of momentum when early balloting goes out in many states in September. Yeah, it's a very unusual schedule because of the Olympics that the convention comes so late. And that allows her to enjoy this surge of momentum that carries her right into a period of time where people are actually voting. That's right. About a month from now, people are actually going to be casting ballots for president. And who would you rather be in? Which position? Trump or Kamala Harris? I'll tell you, I'd rather be on the Harris ticket. So we have got a long way to go. Democrats cannot get complacent. So far, no one has cast a ballot, and there is much work to be done. Republicans are going to spend a ton of money and a ton of negative ads and a ton of attacks, and it's going to be close because in some places in America, people live in their little cocoons, in their right-wing cocoons, and they're not reachable. So Democrats have to turn out, and they have to persuade everyone who is maybe apolitical or not involved that, yeah, it's really important for them to get out and vote too. So you know what to do. You're going to volunteer. You're going to register to vote. You're going to make sure your friends are registered to vote. You're going to volunteer and help out organizations that promote democracy and that enforce the rule of law. And at the end of that, if you do your job, if everyone does their job, we will have the first woman president, the first woman of color president, and we'll have a new future, one without Donald Trump. And that, after all, is what this is about. It's about putting Trump behind us, never having him darken our doorstep again, not having to listen to him, not having to pay attention to him. Wow, that would be something, wouldn't it? Well, listen, if you like this show, please tell your friends. They can listen, watch, follow us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify. And I want to hear from you too. Send in your comments and your questions. Until next time, bye-bye.